All right, everyone take your seats. We have a very serious topic to talk about today. A little something called fatherless behavior. You may have heard the phrase before. It is typically referred to an act or kind of person who behaves a certain way, does certain things, or presents themselves in such a way where you would go, they probably don't have a good father in their life. Whether the father is in their life or not in their life isn't necessarily an effect of what is called fatherless behavior. Fatherless behavior is the byproduct of not having the father in the life. Now, I have some statistics here that are quite shocking, to say the least. Many of them focus on men, many of them focus on women. You know, I like to keep it diverse around here. We are a fully inclusive community. So let us begin. A 2016 study by the U.S. Census Bureau reported that women-only households, so the father is not involved, had a 28% higher chance of poverty compared to those where the father is in the household. The Texas Department of Corrections said there was an 85% of youth in prisons, just Texas, are of a fatherless home. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice said in all state prisons, so the ones that are run by the state, not private, but the state, so Pennsylvania, correctional facilities, those type places, 70% of youth, so we're talking 18 and under, are from a fatherless home. Now, here's one about girls. Girls from a fatherless home are twice as likely to be medically obese, so we're talking like not just 5-10 pounds higher, we're talking to a point where it's like a medical issue, are twice as high to be obese than when the father is in the home. They are also 4 times more likely to be teen moms, which is 10 times the average of a home that does have a father involved. So 10 times higher chance of being a teen mom under 20 when the father is not within the home. 57% of fatherless homes in the U.S. are black and a single mother. Now, here's a real shocking one. 85%, listen to that, of rapists are from a fatherless home. And also in that 85% are specifically rapists from a fatherless home who are attributed their anger towards something revolving their father not being around or their father mistreating them. Pregnant women without the father in their life have a miscarriage rate of 48% compared to 22% when the father is in their life. Now, with those numbers out of the way, we can really get into meat and the bones of this. You hear those statistics, you hear those numbers, very, very shocking stuff. And all of that is just United States. We're just looking at United States. So based on that, you can assume how things might be in other cultures, other countries. But the numbers I provided are United States. Now, for men growing up, when we don't have a father figure, and that doesn't necessarily just mean like a biological father. It also means it could be a good stepfather. It could be an uncle. It could be a teacher, a counselor, a therapist, a sports coach, a male role model in our life that we can look up to and is a good example for us. What often happens is we'll grow up to be, we just won't know like what to do. Like if we don't see a good, healthy relationship between mother, father, mother and mother, boyfriend, mother and stepfather, if we grew up and we just don't see that, we might not know how to, well, not that we might not, but most of the time we don't know how to interact with women, don't know how to be a good member of society, don't know how to, conduct ourselves, because what we might only be seeing is the movies, the video games, the music, the things that show either only a little sliver, or might only be talking about like mistreating women, like in the movies, or being really aggressive, or being all these things that can lead you into being in jail, lead you to becoming a rapist, lead you. Let me fix this real quick. Don't worry about that. Lead you to all these like addictions. It might lead to you taking your own life, because the suicide rate among men is already 4 times higher than it is among women. But it's even higher when you just feel lost because you don't know how to be a man. And that leads into like, I could go into the whole thing about like society saying, oh, men have to be this way, or men are this, or men don't cry, or men only behave this way. But that's a topic for a whole different discussion. We're just looking at the importance of the father or father figure being in the home, both for men, both for women, for the development of the children, the mother, and these statistics are not just based on any little demographic. We're talking, this goes among every race, every location throughout the U.S. That beat keeps coming back. I think like I'm just giving off some kind of good energy right now or something. But the importance is this: if you don't have that father figure in your life, especially for men, things get wild. Like Frederick Douglass once said, it's easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. Because when you're going about life and you just don't know like how to conduct yourself, like I said, it leads you into these bad behaviors. It leads you down a really dark spiral. And that's not a place you want to be. So, guys, we really got to start stepping up. Like, for our kids, for the women we involve ourselves with. Like, even if it's a case where, like, you just don't want to be in that woman's life. Like, that woman drives you crazy. You ain't even mean to have a kid with her. Whatever it might be. All you got to do is step up for your child. Even if you don't love that woman at all. Like, I don't know, maybe y'all get a divorce, thing just fell off, it's not working. You gotta step up for your kid. Because kids who are at risk as children become at-risk adults. Kids who grow up and they only see negativity and like darkness around the men that they're around, the way that they're seeing the men treat the women, the way the women are treating the men. Kids who grow up only seeing that like darkness, that pain, that like feeling of lacking something, that feeling of just not knowing how to be, it really messes you up. Like, I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but for me growing up, my dad was kinda around. Like, it was weird. And as a result of that, for most of my life, I'm blessed that I have like, good male role models, so I didn't like go down like a real dark end of it. But there was definitely times where like I would not know how to, I guess, let's say I see a girl in my class who I'm like, wow, she's really cute, I want to go talk to her. I wouldn't know how to do that because I never like really would see a good example around me in my childhood. Like, so I kind of had to just figure that out on my own. And when it comes to how to conduct yourself as a man, not just in the relationship market, but also in like speaking, your confidence, stand up for yourself, all these things, it becomes a lot harder when you don't have a good male role model around you. Like growing up, I had like I said, I'm blessed that I have some good ones around, but it's a little different when those ones were like, for most of my life, they were just, I would see them when I saw them. Like, I have uncles, I've had cousins who were good male role models, but I just wouldn't see them often. So it would be like rare for me to be around good male role models. And that would reflect in my speaking, my way I carry myself, my confidence, all these areas. And I know that it's so much worse out here for a lot of guys who they don't have that uncle in their life. They don't have that coach. They don't have that counselor, that therapist, those good friends around you. Those people you can look up to and go, this is a good example. Let me be like this. I know it's so bad for people who don't have that. So they're just trying to find a way to like deal with it. So that's when they turn to stuff like drugs, to all these like terrible things, like the drugs, the mistreating the women, the like being hyperly aggressive as a way of like trying to cover up that pain that they're feeling. And it kind of messes up the whole society because, like I said, all those statistics I gave you are the result of fatherless homes. And the more and more the fathers are not taking care of the kids, like, how am I supposed to know how to be a good father if I never saw a good father? How am I supposed to be a good husband if I never saw a good husband? So people keep blaming the men for how they're turning out. What we have to do is start encouraging the men to step up. But it's like, how do I be a good man to my kids, to my girlfriend, to my wife, to my friends, my family, if I never saw that? And that's where we need to, the ones who are doing good, like, they stepping up, we got to encourage that. We got to, get them some praise. Like, it's rare. Like, not just in black communities, but in the Hispanic communities, it's about 30% are fatherless. And white families, it's about 20%. I couldn't find any statistics on Asian households, but we can assume that there is a good portion. And like I keep telling y'all, men, we have to like step it up, because we got to do better for the next generation. Okay, I know that maybe your dad wasn't around. Maybe you don't have that good male role model. But I hope that somehow, some way, I could be that to one of y'all. Even though I'm 16. Even though I might not even know who you are. I want to be able to, put that out there. And maybe some of y'all come across this and go, he's speaking facts. Like, let me try to be a better boyfriend. Let me try to, treat my siblings better. Let me try to step it up, because if whatever you're born into, that's what you're born into. But you can get out of that. You can break through that. You just have to become the kind of man that you would want to have in your life. Like, something that I tell myself fairly often is become the kind of father that you would have wanted your father to be. Become the kind of man that you would have wanted to see growing up. Become the kind of male role model to your friends, to your family, to students at school, to all these people, and try to help them get out of that. Because you never know. They might be going through something too. Like, they might not have a dad at home. They might not have a uncle, their cousins, their stepfathers. Maybe they got a dad at home, or they got their stepfather at home, but he abusive, he hurting them or hurting the mother, you just might not know until they tell you that. But oftentimes, when you find that out, it's a little too late. Like, that's when they're already in jail. That's when they become a statistic. That's when, they dropping out of high school at a much higher rate than people got their father in their life. That's when they 10 times more likely to be a teen mom at 20 and under that. That's when you see them involved in a lot of gang violence as a way of just trying to find a community. Like, it's not always about, oh, I want to be so big and tough because they feeling hurt. It's about, I want a community. I want people that I can feel appreciated by. I want people who are there for me. And you looking in the wrong place with the gangs, but from the point of, like, you just don't know, like, how to be a man, how to, be a good father, a good husband, a good boyfriend, whatever, it makes sense that you're trying to find something. Like, it makes sense that you're trying to numb your pain. It makes sense that you become an alcoholic. It makes sense. Is that a good thing? No. And that's why we gotta fix it. But it makes sense, because how are you supposed to be a good man if you never seen that? How are you supposed to, make it better for the next generation if you never had that around you? And that's why, like, we look around and more we see this fatherless behavior. We see more criminals. We see more men in prison. And it's like, a lot of times, the men in prison, they can't be fathers to their kids because they in prison. How's supposed to be your dad behind some bars? And that just leads to a, cycle of the child born from a father who was in prison ends up in prison. And then it just goes on and on and on and on. And somebody got to break it. Like, if we don't do it, who's going to do it? And another thing. Now, I see a lot of times that women are saying, oh, men ain't nothing. They doing this and they doing that. And a lot of times it's like, we feel pushed away because y'all always saying we the problem. And yes, to an extent, we are the problem. We both the problem. We got our problems, y'all got your problems. We gotta come together and unite somehow to solve this. Because I refuse to keep seeing more and more kids growing up in these terrible conditions. I refuse to see that. And if somebody don't do it, then I'ma do it. That's all I gotta say for y'all. Keep it up. I believe in y'all. I love you. I want to see you do good. I am here for you. If your dad ain't, if your uncles, your brothers, your cousins ain't, I am. I will be the solution if need be. I will step up to the plate and try my absolute best to make it better out here for us. Because all this fatherly behavior is leading to more and more needless death. It's leading to teen pregnancies. It's leading to all this stuff. It's leading to so many problems that we could just fix by stepping up and becoming the kind of men that we would have wanted to see in our childhood. I love you. Keep it up.